This week on the Digital Marketing Scoop, I'm talking conversion optimization tips to help you turn more of your traffic into leads and sales. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. So this week we're going to be talking about conversion optimization tips to help you turn more of your website traffic into leads and sales. So the first tip, particularly around e-commerce, is to focus on your product images. Really good, high quality product images showing the different angles of your product, the product in use, the different colors of your product, basically kind of leaving no stone unturned for the person who's potentially buying it, that they have a really good visual of your product. That can do an awful lot to help turn that person from a website visitor into a customer. So tip number one, really good product images, particularly on e-commerce, obviously, but it's, great images across your website is obviously important, but around e-commerce, really good product images. Second one, use social proof. If you're an unknown brand, people aren't going to have that trust there straight away. So you need to be able to use things like written testimonials, video testimonials, product reviews, whatever social proof you have around your business and your product or your service. You need to have that, on easily accessible on your website. 'Cause somebody hits your website, whether it's from an ad or a search or from social, and they land on the website and they're presented with the product or service. You really want to make sure that they have that you're building trust with them as quickly as possible. Now, sometimes, depending on your product, that can take an awful lot of time. But definitely you want your testimonials, the product reviews, both written and video, there on the site. A great way to kind of generate those as well is maybe to run some, depending on your product, to run some competitions and get some user-generated content. So get your customers creating some videos around your products, around your service, around the support that they received. That's a really nice way to get some user-generated content and some really good social proof. So third one, test your pricing. People are very often afraid to increase prices on their products or the services. Depending on competition in your sector, how elastic demand is for your product, you may be in a position where you can increase your pricing, and especially when you take into account if you haven't done it for a long time and you bring inflation into the equation, it's very possibly something you need to look at doing. So if you've got a, let's say, a 2% conversion rate, and you can increase your prices a little and your conversion rate holds steady or goes down percentage, not as much as the price increase, that can be a really good way to basically increase your margins. It's obviously something you want to be careful with. You don't want to price yourself out of the sector, the product, the service, whatever you're offering. But if it's something you haven't looked at in a long time, well worth investigating. Especially at the moment, inflation seems to be really high. It is probably something you need to look into. I know a lot of people, suppliers, have increased prices. Some of them then are passing that on to customers. Some aren't. But it's definitely something you need to examine, something you need to look into, and it could be a potential opportunity to increase your profit margins. Another one, surprise, do split testing. Use a tool like Google Optimize. Make sure your high traffic pages, you getting as much value as possible from those pages. Use Google Optimize to test different copy, to test different imagery, to test different video, to make sure you are getting the most from that traffic, that you are turning as much of that traffic as possible into leads and into sales. Testing different headlines at the top of the page to see which leads to more button clicks on the add to cart. Testing different product images to see which is leading to more button clicks on add to cart, and testing your product copy to see what's leading to more people clicking that add to cart button. Really important. Google Optimize, completely free tool, integrates with Google Analytics. This is something you can start doing to really start getting your conversion rates up. And last one is sell the benefits, not the specs. So in your copywriting for your product or service, rather than focusing on, the ingredients of something, You focus on the benefits of those ingredients. What can they do for me? If you're selling, something technology-wise, it's not about the gigahertz. It's about how fast my tasks are now going to be complete versus how slowly they would have been complete before. On your product copy, on your service copy, focus on the benefits for the consumer rather than what we call the specs of the product or service. So I hope you got a lot of value from today's episode. I think if you implement even just a few of these, particularly onto an e-commerce site, you will see a massive uplift in your conversions. So thanks for listening. That's been this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of the Digital Marketing Scoop. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please jump into your Apple Podcasts, your Google Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast platform is, and just make sure to follow and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to leave a review if you enjoyed the episode, I'd absolutely love for you to do that. We put out an episode every single week with digital marketing tips, case studies, ways to build your business with digital marketing. Also, if you are interested in bringing your own business online or looking at scaling your business, we'd love to chat with you here at CLIQ. You can visit us online at CLIQ.ie.